Hey everyone, and welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into something super practical today, and that's the art of making comparisons in English.
Ooh, comparisons.
Yeah, you know those phrases that help us really understand the relationships between things?
Yeah,
And whether you're trying to give a really good presentation or just have more interesting everyday
all
conversations,
right.
mastering comparisons can just make you a much better communicator.
Totally. And you know what? Comparisons, they're like spices in our language.
Okay.
They bring that extra flavor and depth to everything we say.
I like that.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, they're not as tricky as they might seem at first.
That's good because I'm not a huge grammar buff.
Oh, me neither, but don't worry.
Okay, good.
We've got this episode of English with Marco and Erica to help us out.
Oh, yeah, I love those guys, Marco and Erica.
Yeah, they're super fun, and they just make learning English so engaging.
They're just high energy.
Yeah.
And they actually have a whole episode on comparisons.
They do. And they really break down the basics in a way that's super clear and easy to get.
Nice. So, where do they even begin?
Well, they start with short adjectives,
Okay.
and they explain how you add "er" to make a word comparative, like taller or smarter,
Hmm.
and then you add "est" to make it a superlative.
So, tallest, smartest?
Exactly. It's like a simple little formula.
Right.
And you know what they do?
What?
They actually use this great example to show it in action. It's a dialogue between two friends, and they're comparing New York and London.
Oh, I've had that conversation a million times.
Right. So one friend asks, how does New York compare to London?
Yeah.
And the other one says, well, New York is bigger than London, but London is older.
Oh, classic.
I know. It shows how, naturally comparisons fit into our everyday conversations.
Yeah, sure.
And they don't stop there. They go on to compare, how expensive the cities are, saying things like, I'd say New York is more expensive than London, but Tokyo is the most expensive city I've ever visited.
Wow, Tokyo's really taking the cake there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It just shows how you can use those comparatives and superlatives to create rankings and emphasize those differences.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our basic structure down, but I feel like there's always those tricky exceptions.
Oh, you mean like the irregular comparisons?
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones that always trip me up.
Yeah, they're kind of like the rebels of English grammar.
Totally. They just refuse to follow the rules.
I know. But Marco and Erica, they do a really good job of explaining them,
Yeah.
why they exist. They talk about how they've evolved over time and often come from older forms of English.
That's interesting. So, what are some examples of those?
So you have good, better, best,
Yeah.
or bad,
Yeah.
worse and worst.
Yeah, right.
They don't follow that regular R and S pattern at all.
No, they really don't.
And what's fascinating is that you actually see similar irregular forms in other languages, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in Romance languages, like Spanish or French. They have their own sets of irregular comparatives and superlatives.
So if you already know another language, maybe that gives you a bit of a head start.
It might.
Okay, so that's interesting. We've covered the basics and the rule breakers, but are there any, common mistakes that people make even when they know the rules?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Marco and Erica, they're not afraid to point those out, which is helpful.
Good, because I know I've made a ton of them.
But me too.
What are some of the big ones?
Well, one of the biggest ones is the double comparative,
All right.
like saying more better.
Oh,
It's like you're adding an extra more
huh.
when the comparative form already has it built in.
Right. It just sounds wrong.
Yeah, it does. The right way is just to say better.
Okay.
And then there's that classic mix-up with than and then.
Ugh, I still do that
It's
sometimes.
so easy to do.
I know.
So than is for comparisons, but then is talking about the order of things, like a sequence.
Okay, so it's a small difference, but it really matters.
It really does. It can make
Yeah.
your writing and speaking a lot clearer.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that one before. She's taller than me. Instead of she's taller than me.
Exactly. It's such an easy mistake to make, especially when you're writing quickly.
Oh, for sure.
But Marco and Erica, they give some good tips for avoiding these errors.
Okay, good.
They really stress paying attention to those little details because they can make a big difference.
I like that.
Yeah.
So we've got the basics, the rule breakers, the common mistakes, but now I want to know how to really level up my comparison game.
Oh, you ready for the advanced stuff?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. Well, Marco and Erica, they get into some pretty cool advanced techniques,
Okay.
like the more structure.
Okay.
Like the more you practice, the more you improve.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
It's perfect for showing those cause and effect relationships.
It's powerful.
Yeah. And it sounds so good, too.
It does.
And then you've got that classic as structure,
Okay.
which is great for creating vivid images.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, this coffee is hot, you could say, this coffee is as hot as the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That paints a much clearer picture.
It does. It shows that comparisons aren't just about stating facts. They're about style and making your language come alive.
That's so true.
And Marco and Erica, they have this super fun way of teaching these advanced structures.
Oh,
They have this comparison chain game.
what? Tell me more about that. What is a comparison chain game?
Okay, so it's this activity where one person starts with a comparison,
Okay.
and then the next person builds on it with another one, and it just keeps going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a linguistic game of tag,
I love it.
where every comparison sparks a new idea.
Okay, give me an example.
So let's say they start with something simple like, this pizza is as cheesy as a cheesy joke.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Right, so then how would you build on that?
Let me think. Okay, this pizza is as cheesy as a cheesy joke told by a dad at a family reunion.
Oh, that's good, that's good.
I don't know if that's good.
No, it's great.
It's so cheesy.
I know, right? It's not just about grammar, it's about having fun with language
Right.
and being creative. you
Yeah,
know?
I love that.
Marco and Erica, they really emphasize that playfulness is key to learning.
Makes sense.
It helps you relax, experiment, and just become a more confident communicator.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, I think this deep dive is already blowing my mind.
Me too.
We've gone from the basic building blocks
Right.
all the way to those rule breakers, the common mistakes.
Yeah.
And now even these awesome advanced structures.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I feel like I'm starting to get it.
Me too. I'm feeling much more confident already.
Good.
But I'm ready for even more.
Oh, there's more. You got it.
What else is there?
Well, Marco and Erica, they talk about something I think is super relevant for today.
Okay.
And that's cultural nuances when it comes to comparisons.
Ooh, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Okay, so they point out that different cultures might have different ways of approaching comparisons. Like, some cultures might be very direct,
Right.
while others might be more subtle or indirect in how they make comparisons.
Interesting.
And, understanding these nuances is so valuable when you're talking with people from different backgrounds.
Oh, for sure. That makes a lot of sense.
It's like this whole other layer of understanding language, recognizing that it's not just the words themselves, it's the cultural context, too.
It's like a whole extra dimension.
It is. And it can help us be better communicators,
Yeah.
especially in a world that's so interconnected.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's so important.
It is.
So it's not just about the grammar, it's about understanding the culture too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really shows how closely language and culture are connected and how they both influence how we see the world.
Yeah, it's like language holds this hidden layer of meaning that's all about culture.
Right. And once you start to see those cultural nuances,
Yeah.
it can make you a much more effective and sensitive communicator.
That's so important, especially nowadays when we're all interacting with people from different cultures all the time.
It is. It's essential.
So how do Marco and Erica illustrate this point about cultural nuances?
Well, they give these really insightful examples from different languages and cultures.
Okay.
Like, they talk about how some languages actually have specific grammar structures
Yeah.
just for comparing things that are equal.
Oh, wow.
And in other languages, they might use different adverbs or particles to convey all these subtle shades of meaning they might not even have in English.
That makes you realize that learning a new language is about so much more than just memorizing vocabulary and grammar.
It is.
It's like stepping into a whole new way of thinking and expressing yourself.
Exactly. It really broadens your horizons and challenges you to see the world in new ways.
I love that.
But, while it's fascinating to explore those cultural differences,
Yeah.
I think it's also important to bring it back to the practical side of things.
Right, because we want to be able to actually use these comparison skills in our everyday lives.
Exactly. Whether we're writing an email, giving a presentation, or just chatting with friends.
So what are some of those actionable takeaways that Marco and Erica offer?
Well, they really stress the importance of practice.
Okay.
The more you use comparisons in your daily conversations and writing, the more natural they'll become.
It's like any skill, the more you use it, the better you get.
Exactly. And you know what else they do?
What?
They actually give their listeners this fun little homework assignment
Oh, I love that.
to help them put their new knowledge into action.
What is it?
So they challenge their listeners to write down 5 comparisons about their daily lives.
Okay.
Then they have to record themselves, saying them out loud, and then share them in the comments section of their podcast.
Oh, that's a great idea. It's like a fun challenge that pushes you to step outside your comfort zone a little bit.
It is. And, hearing other people's comparisons can be so inspiring, too.
Yeah, you can pick up new ideas and get creative with it.
Exactly. It creates this sense of community
Yeah.
and shared learning.
Oh, I love that. It's like we're all in this together.
Yeah. And, one final thought that Marco and Erica share really stuck with me.
Go back.
They asked their listeners this really thought-provoking question. How might your native language shape your own use of comparisons?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It really makes you stop and think about your own linguistic habits
Yeah.
and how they might be influenced by the languages you've grown up with.
It's like taking a closer look at your own communication style.
Yeah, and recognizing the subtle ways that your cultural background shapes how you express yourself.
That's so interesting. It's like language isn't just this neutral tool.
It's not.
It's so intertwined with our identity and worldview.
Exactly. And, once you start to become aware of these influences,
Yeah.
it can help you communicate more effectively and sensitively with people from all different backgrounds.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is.
This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like we've not only explored the technical aspects of comparisons,
Right.
but we've also uncovered this deeper significance they have in how we communicate and understand the world around us.
It's been a journey.
It really has.
And it just goes to show that language is so much more than a set of rules.
Yeah.
It's this living, breathing system that reflects our culture, history, and individual creativity.
Absolutely.
And, as we continue to learn and experiment with language,
Yeah.
we unlock all these new possibilities for connection, understanding, and expressing ourselves.
So true. So should we wrap up with some key takeaways for our listeners?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, what's the most important thing we've learned today?
Well, I think it all comes down to practice.
Makes sense.
The more you use those comparisons, the better you'll get at them.
Absolutely. So don't be afraid to try out different structures and see what works best for you.
Exactly. And remember, mistakes are part of the learning process.
So true.
It's how we grow.
Yeah, and if you ever need a little refresher or some inspiration,
Right.
don't forget to check out the English with Marco and Erica podcast.
They're a fantastic resource
They really are.
for language learners of all levels.
Oh, and before we forget, I think we should mention that really cool tip Marco and Erica gave for taking your comparison skills to the next level.
Oh, yeah, about exploring how comparisons are used in different types of writing.
Yes. Like paying attention to how authors, poets, public speakers all use comparisons to create those vivid images or emphasize a point or even persuade their audience.
Yeah, it's like becoming a comparison detective.
I like that.
Noticing all those subtle ways that language is used to make an impact and connect with people on a deeper level.
It's like we're on a mission to unlock the secrets of great communication.
Right.
And comparisons are like one of our secret weapons.
They are. And the more you pay attention to how they're used in different situations,
Yeah.
the more you'll start to see the patterns and the nuances. And then you can start using them in your own way.
It's like you develop this sixth sense for language, where you can just feel those subtle but powerful ways that words can shape meaning.
You got it. It's a journey of constant learning and discovery.
That's what I love about language.
Me too.
It never gets boring.
Never. And it can enrich so much more than just our communication. It can change how we understand the whole world around us.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening for me.
Me too.
I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the power of comparisons now.
Yeah, it's amazing how something that seems so simple on the surface can actually have such a huge impact on how we communicate and how we see the world.
Right. It's not just about grammar. It's about so much more.
It really is. It's about culture. It's about perspective. It's about creativity.
And it's a connection, too.
Yes. Connecting with other people and connecting with different ways of thinking.
So as we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with one final thought to chew on.
Okay, I like that.
As you go through your day today, pay attention to the comparisons you come across, both in your own conversations and in the things you read and hear.
Yeah.
What do those comparisons tell you about how we think and communicate?
Right. How do they shape how we understand ourselves and the world around us?
It's a great challenge for our listeners.
It is.
And a reminder that we're always learning.
Yeah.
And that every interaction, every conversation, everything we read or hear can be a chance to learn more about language and how it shapes our lives.
It's so true.
Well, that's about it for this deep dive.
It's been fun.
It has. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and never lose that curiosity for language.
That's the key.
See you on our next deep dive.